Hello, and it's once again time for a reading from the Poetic Edda. Hi, I'm Loki's witch, and I will be doing your reading today. Because, I love doing this so much. Now sit back, relax, and let me read you a damn story. I might want my glasses on first. Today we're doing Alvissmal, the words of Allwise. In Alvissmal, a dwarf named Allwise visits the home of Thor with the intentions of marrying his daughter. Thor disapproves and occupies the dwarf by asking him a number of questions of mythos trivial. Namely, what versus people, the Aesirs, the Valars, the human, the dwarves, etc. All different phenomenons in heaven and earth. The dwarf successfully answers all of his questions, but at the end is revealed that Thor has been sealing for time, waiting for the sun to come up and turn the unlucky suitor to stone. I didn't know sun could do that. All right, let's begin. Oh, I said, get the benches ready. Now I come home with a bride in tow. It may not seem likely to others around me, but I will not sleep when I get home. Thor says, "Who is this man? Why are you so pale around the nostrils? Do you spend the nights with the corpses? It seems to me you have a monster appearance. You have no business seeking a bride." Allwise. I am named Allwise. I live beneath the earth. On my underground easel, I come to visit you, Thor, Lord of the Goat Chariots. No one will make me retract my words. Thor. I will discuss this, since I'm the bride's father. And it's I who gets a say about her. I was not home when she pronounced to you, "This girl is my daughter and a goddess." Allwise. Sorry, it was promised, not pronounced. Who is this man who speaks of a beautiful lady? You scandal. Probably no one would have defied you. Who give you the ring that you wear? Not now, Bobby. 1 minute. Who is this man who speaks for the beautiful lady? You scoundrel. Probably no one would defy you. Who give you those rings that you wear? My name is Thor. I am a wild travel man. I am the son of Longbeard Odin. If you do not contract, you will never get a girl. You will stay unmarried forever. Real quick, a little thing about Thor is, yes, he did have daughters. There's other things about Thor, that he is actually a god of fertility. So most of the time when people got married, they had a hammer or an axe on their belt dedicated to him in those times. And before you think I'm being mean to the dog, that squeaky toy was louder than I am. So he will be getting it back after the video, I promise. He's not dying. He's just being a brat. Isn't that right, honey? He needs scratches. Okay, puppy. Want me to continue reading now? All wise. I'd like to have your consent and your certainty and I'll certainly like the bride. I would rather have her than have to live without that girl who loves in the snow. Moving my other book. This Thor. This girl's love will never be yours, my cherished guest. If you dare to leave this house without telling me what I want to know about, if you dare to leave this house without telling me what I want to know about every realm. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about others, about everyone, dwarf. What is the earth called? Then the people walk. What is the earth called that people walk on in every world? Man calls it earth. The all says calls it soil. The Valia calls it world. The giants call it green. The elves call it grove. The high gods call it clay. Thor, tell me, all wise. Since you think you know everything about everyone, dwarf, what do they call the sky swirling above us in every world? All wise, humans call it heaven. The all stars call it the wildlands. The Vala call it a wind maker. Giants call it upworld. Elves call it high roof. Dwarves call it dap house. Or deep house. Thor, tell me, all wise, since you think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call the moon? It is easy to see in every world. All wise, humans call it the moon. Gods call it change. In hell they call it the turning wheel. The giants call it heavy. Dwarves call it shiny. And the elves say year counter. Thor, tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call the sun? It is easy to see too. In every world. Humans call it the sun. Gods call it the southern ball. Dwarves call it Davar's toy. Elves call it the beautiful will. The Allset call it all clear. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call the rain-making clouds in every world? Humans say clouds, but the gods say hope of rain. The Valor call the wild floods. The giants hope of hail. Elves say weather's curse. And in hell they call them hymns from the heaven. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone. God, that's going to be said a lot. I'm so sorry. Dwarf. What do they call the winds which travel so wildly in every world? Humans call it wind. The gods call it blower. The holy say noisemaker. The giants call it screaming. Call it the scream. The elves say noisy traveler. In hell they call it stormy. Interesting. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call it when the winds start stirring in every world? Human stand still in every world. Humans call it the calm. The gods call it underblown. Valor, wind stop. Giants, wind blown. Stop blowing. Elves call it day sleep. But the dwarves call it day's fate. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone. I'll get it down eventually. Dwarf. What do they call the sea that boats are rowing on every world? Humans call it the ocean. Gods prefer the name sea. Valor call it restful harbor. Giants say Il's home. Elves call it or peace. Dwarves say deep, deep sea. Well, it's because with your tiny arms you can't swim. Thor. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call fire, which burns before our eyes in every world? Humans call it fire. The Aesir call it flame. The Valar call it warmer. The giants call it blood one. The dwarves call it burn. Move is the name in hell. Mover is a name in hell. There's actually a story about that. From what I recall from it, it's because they would shoot fire at people to make them move. And the Draugr don't like fire at all. So there's that. Anyways. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call woods that grow before your eyes in every world? Humans call them the woods, but gods say wood of the plains. Wood of plains. Other men call them hill highs. Giants call them firewood. Elves call them pretty leaves. And the Valar call them the wilds. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call the night, child of Naval, in every world? Humans call it the night. Gods say the darkness. The holy gods say the masked one. Giants call it unlight. Elves call it good to sleep in. There's probably a fancy word for that. Dwarves call it queen of dreams. Tell me, all wise, I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call seeds that are sown on the earth in every world? Humans call it barley. Gods say grain. Valor say grow. Giants say good eating. Elves call it things to make beer. They're not wrong, okay? And hell calls it sun kiss. Tell me, all wise, since I think you know everything about everyone, dwarf. What do they call ale that everyone drinks in every world? Humans call it ale. The Aesir call it beer. The Valar call it wine. The giants call it clean drinking. But in hell they say mead. The giant son of sultans calls it toasted. I have never seen a single creature who knows so much lore, but I've had declared you all wise, or deceived you all wise with a terrible lie. You're still up. It is dawn, dwarf. The sun shines in the hills. So what he means by that, and that was the end, is that in some stories, dwarves cannot be touched by the sun, or they turn to stone. And that's what happened to him. Because Thor did not want to betroth his daughter to somebody who he believed looked like a monster. Because one of the biggest things, and I've told this to my roommate, is you can get the father's permission, but you also have to get the daughter's permission. And if she said no, she said no. So, in that Edda story, he did distract him successfully by having him answer all these questions. And not only because he didn't want him to marry his daughter, it's because he was trying to protect her. Like any father would. And I made a promise to my dog. So with that, I say, have a great day. Enjoy your Samhain this weekend. And I'll be back with another video. Blessed be.